day 2. I don't have much thoughts going on. It's been about a day since arriving here. It's a bit cold. It's about 30 degrees outside, or at least underneath there. Not exactly sure. I'm trying to take a better path of being healthy. Maybe being on this trip could be good for me. Maybe turning 23 and trying to enjoy it will be good for me. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been holding a lot of contempt for a lot of people recently. It's not healthy for me, so I just had to take a really big step back, much like everybody else, but in a different way, taking a different direction. Let me go ahead and get closer, talk to you all about it. All right, so good morning, everybody. Today, I'm sitting on loose pallets, by the way. Good morning, everybody. It's February 1st, and it kind of marks my 6-month anniversary. Not anniversary, it's a yearly thing. It marks my 6-month progress into quitting tobacco, quitting smoking. I wasn't much of a weed guy. I'm not a big fan of that. I would prefer to be as tacked as a push pin, you know? I kind of would like to be a little focused while having the relaxation from the nicotine. So last August, I quit smoking cigarettes and quit hitting the vape pens, buying the disposable vapes. I quit all of that. You know, I went cold turkey. Actually, no, I did kind of wean off a little bit. I went from the actual cigarettes to my vape mod. And then once the coils ran out, it was then the disposable vapes. I bought my last disposable vape. And then I smoked my last cigarette once that was over. I actually remember that day. It was, I was working an event last July going into August. It was a music concert I was filming with my buddies. And at the end of the day, I smoked my last cigarette that night coming home. And I was like, man, I'm about to start a new journey here. I'm gonna be starting a new goal in life, which is to have a little more self-control and not give in to things like nicotine and tobacco. Really have a lot more things to improve, but you know, one step at a time for sure. So once that was over, once that was all said and done, I quit buying the vapes. I quit buying everything in terms of like tobacco related things. It was an easy decision. Like the reasoning for it honestly was because 5 years was long enough for me. I've known people who have been smoking ever since they were like 15, 16 years old, like sometime in high school. Even my folks probably started a lot earlier than I did. I started when I was 20. You know, I'm very late into the game, including a lot of other things. But you know what? I'm kind of glad I waited when I was an adult instead of like as a kid, because you know, when you're a kid, like you don't have much self-control. You know what I mean? Yeah, I started like when I was 20 years old, straight out of university, and barely finding any work in my desired field. It was a very rough time for me, and there was a lot of intrapersonal things I was dealing with as well, like relationships and kind of restoring some friendships at that time after leaving for Florida. So there were a lot of things kind of just like in my path, kind of like in my way. So I decided to just buy some damn cigars. Like I bought cigars from the store. That was the first thing I ever smoked. It was a cigar. And then it kind of led into cigarettes. And then it led to vapes, et cetera, et cetera. You know, as the 5 years have gone by. I've also done it in a more social manner as well. Even like having the jobs that I had, I did feed into it a lot. They were a lot cheaper back then compared to now. It will be in a social manner, kind of getting close to people, kind of like getting a little more involved with my coworkers. Like it became a form of like, you know, social, like being a part of a social circle, I guess, or kind of just like knowing people outside, kind of like getting to know people who are just standing outside having a smoke, et cetera, et cetera. That is what it is. And then, of course, there were a lot more hardships in the way, kind of like a lot of uncertainty with the relationships and jobs, especially with the global pandemic that happened about 4 years ago. So, you know, I kind of lost my job at that time. And, of course, as I collected the unemployment, I would buy packs and packs and a lot of other things. I was very frivolous with my spending. 5 years in 2023 was long enough for me, and I started a new job where it requires for me to be physical, very, very physical. It's a very physical job, very physically demanding job where I have to push, pull, carry, that sort of thing. I would, of course, need the energy to do it. even being born with asthma and all that, it was it was very tough having to deal with the after effects the next morning. You know, having a bunch of phlegm, barely able to breathe out of your nose, barely able to smell, barely able to taste. And it has nothing to do with asthma, but still, that was definitely one of those. 5 years, long enough, and working a new job that was very physically demanding, and it had a lot of adverse health effects. Well, at least it was very adverse to my pre-existing health conditions, most definitely. That night, I was like, yep, this is it for me. This is my last one. I flicked it off and never looked back. That same week was kind of rough, you know. I guess it was a little, I won't even say it's a test. A friend of mine had passed that same week I quit. It was definitely an attempt of will against me. Kind of like, will I give in already after the first week finding out this kind of news? I don't know. Then the subsequent weeks have passed on to my first month. And there was little to no temptation on seeing those in the store, where I would go and check out at the store, you know, getting like a couple of bags of chips, and then I would see somebody maybe buying a pack of cigarettes, or even buying one of those disposable vapes. I'm in line, I'm staring at it, like at the disposables. I'm like, no, this is not worth my time today. This is not worth my money today, especially with how expensive these things all are now. You know, a pack used to be $7 when I first started. They're now sitting at between $9 to $10.50 per pack. And of course, up north, it's egregious. I've heard stories from my friends up north and my family up north. They charge at least up to $11 to $12 a pack. That is egregious. It was too expensive. That's not it for me. We're here later. It's 6 months. We're here later now. And quite honestly, I feel a whole lot better. I found a lot of things to occupy my time. I've gotten back into my passions. I've gotten back into getting a little more motivated. As for the spending, it's improved a little bit. I've made some life changes. You know, this is a lifestyle change. So working part-time and kind of just, you know, trying to manage my money well, and, you know, making sure that everything is covered before I go off and do other things. That involves money anyway. The no smoking journey, it was definitely a long one. A lot of people came out of the woodwork to congratulate me after my first 30 days. A lot of people have congratulated me after my 90 days. So now we're here 6 months later, or 180 days, and I'm feeling a whole lot better. I will have aspirations to continue this no smoking journey, even if it gets catastrophically difficult for me right now. I will not give in. I will not buy a pack, no matter how hard it gets out here, all right? Because I'm pretty sure there are gonna be hard times ahead. There are gonna be a lot of things to really take on at my age, 26. There are gonna be a lot more things to take on. You know, a lot of interpersonal journeys I have to really go on. I have to, you know, get used to not being so comfortable. That's that. But I'm glad you came about and found me, if you did. Till next time, you know, don't be a stranger. I'll see you around. And if you want to peep some more stuff, the website is down in the description and all that. And that's that. I'll see you around. You have a good rest of your morning.